So now we're going to come to working with numbers. So far we've been working with text columns. Now we're going to work with number columns and see the sort of operations that we can do with number columns, such as addition, subtraction, multiplication. We'll look at the modulus function. We won't do division in this lesson because that requires that we examine something to do with data types, so we'll cover that in a later lesson. Now, if we haven't done so already, let's save our query file with our nice big long full name. We'll save the work we've done so far because we're going to close this, start a new query, and come back to this one later on. So with that query window there, we'll just go File, Save As. Now, I've already saved this myself, but I'll get you to save this as under Documents, SQL Management Studio, or wherever you choose to, but we'll save that as My Person Query. Now, I've already got my file there, so I'll just overwrite the existing version, save that, and we'll just close the query window ready for the next lesson. We're going to scroll down. I'll get you to scroll down in the Object Explorer on the left there. If you haven't got the Tables folder already expanded, please do so. And we're going to scroll down to Sales Order Detail. Now, we're going to do some operations involving numbers and that particular table. So let's just start a new query file. And you know what? Let's just save it. Before we go any further, put it under Documents, SQL Management Studio, or wherever you like. I'm going to call it My Number Query. Okay, so we're interested in this table, so let's just do a basic query to select all the columns. Select star, as we do. We've got to specify the from, the table we're coming from, and that is sales.salesorder_detail. Sales, where sales, the first bit is the schema. And you know what? It's Telesense is helping us out here, so let's just select it. Now, it's always good to put a short name, what's called an alias, to the table. So let's just call it SOD, Sales Order Detail. Okay, so let's just select it and see what's in there. Okay, it's a pretty lengthy table. And what have we got here? We've got Sales Order ID. That, I'll bet you any money you like, that is the prime key. Another column there, another column there. We've got an order quantity, a few ID things. We've got a price, we've got a discount, and we've got a line total. So we're going to do some funky things involving some of these columns. Now, if we're interested in the actual types of some of these numeric columns, we can always use the Object Explorer to go down and expand the table, expand columns, and hey presto, we've got the actual data types of the columns listed there. If we know how to look for them, let's look at some of these numbers. Order quantity, that is a small int. We saw that earlier. It is a variation on the integer data type. It's numeric. What else? Unit price, that is money. That's another numeric type. It's got actual decimals involved, as we can see there. The line total, that's actually a numeric. That's another numeric data type in SQL Server. Now, if you don't have access to the data dictionary for the system for which you are designing queries, there are a couple of tricks you can do to work out if a particular field is a numeric field or a text field, and then code accordingly. Now, in this example, this is a student management system. There are two fields there, registration and class of. Let's see if we can find out which of them are numeric and which of them are text. We can do that simply by just typing in them. Most systems will, if it is a numeric field, it will not allow letters to be entered into it. So let's see if we can type letters and or numbers into registration. Let's see what happens. I'm typing 1, 2, 3, some A's. So obviously that is a text type field because it accepts both numbers and letters. So it's text because it allows letters. Now if I go to class of and I start typing in, I'm typing in letters there, nothing's happening. It won't allow letters, but it will allow numbers. So obviously that is a numeric type field. Okay, so we're going to do a simple operation involving a numeric field, and we're going to do it involving the order quantity column right here. So as I've said, it's perfectly legitimate to repeat columns in a query, so I'm just going to put order quantity at the front there. and execute. There it is. Now, let's say, for example, we're going to give everybody one free item in their quantity. So we're just going to increase their order quantity by 1 because we're going to give them a freebie. So how do we increase that by 1? Well, as in all records altogether in that column. Now, this is what we're going to do. So we're going to, it's as simple as this. So I'll just do it and we'll talk about it. Now, notice that that starts off being an actual physical column. That is a representation of the physical column that is order quantity. But after I run this expression, okay, what's just happened? That column has gone from a proper physical column to an expression column. And what's exactly happened? Well, it's done just that. It's taken that value of order quantity and it's increased it by 1. That's 2. That's gone from 3 to 4. That's gone from 1 to 2. You can see what's happening. Let's just give it a name. I'll call it increased quantity. Always a good idea, because if you have, sometimes under certain conditions with some advanced queries, if you leave a column that does not have a proper name, it will cause errors. That's a more advanced topic. I will come to that in a much later class. So just take that as read that we need names for our columns, our expression columns. So, okay, let's have a look at the actual expression itself. We just simply went and took a numeric column and we went plus and we added a constant literal value, 1, and it's done just that. So literally the operator plus had a different outcome depending on the context in which we invoked it. So plus is one of those kind of special operators. In the case of text columns, the plus operator concatenated a piece of text onto that column or other expression value. Okay, so let's do something else. Let's use a different operator. Let's go minus. Oh, look at that. It's gone from 1 to 0, from 3 to 2. It's done exactly what we told it to. So as you can probably see, with numeric columns, you can perform any kind of arithmetic operation on it. Let's go times. Times is actually asterisk, which is actually like Excel. So let's go 2. Right, what's happened? 1 times 2 is 2, 3 times 2 is 6. You see the idea. So let's also cover the modulus operator. The modulus function in maths is, if you didn't know, is basically the remainder left over after you divide by a certain amount. So let's say if we were interested in identifying all the order quantities that are non-even, and a simple way to do that is to go modulus 2, and if any of them have a remainder after dividing by 2, then we know that they're an odd number. So I'll start a new line. Order QTY, and the modulus operator is represented by the percentage sign, and I'll call that column order modulus. So let's just execute that and see how we go. There we go. You know what? I'm just going to put order quantity at the very left there, just so we can see the input and the effect on it. Okay, so if the order quantity is 1 and we divide by 2, the leftover is 1. If it's 3, the leftover is 1. If it's 2, then of course there is no leftover. So that's basically how a modulus works. So we've covered the fundamentals about working with number columns and number values. In the next lesson, we're going to extend that to working with numbers and the division operator. But in order to do that effectively, we need to cover a discussion about data conversion. So the next lesson will focus on data conversion, but as an example, will lead into division operations. Now, before we get into the next lesson about data types and division, I'll get us to, you know what, we'll just get rid of the little line there about order modulus and the second order quantity, and we'll just put it back to the way it was before this last exercise, and we'll save that as my number query. And we'll put it under SQL Management Studio, save that. If you've already saved it, just overwrite it, and we will use that file in the next lesson. Well, now it's assignment time. Don't worry, I'm not going to make it too hard, but if you could download the file assignment1.zip, and inside it you're going to find the following files. So I'll get you to attempt the business requirements in assignment1.pdf. And I've given you a suggested solution. It's not necessarily the only solution. You can come up with your own if it gets the same results. But I've offered a suggested solution in the file assignment1suggestedsolution.sql. And the results of my solution are in assignment1results.xlsx.